I was a life science major. Life science, also known as biology in most cases. So as Gina mentioned, this is the first of multiple talks, but I kind of like to think that we're starting with biology to the best. So hopefully you guys are sold on it as well. And when you guys come here to CSU Pueblo, you consider joining us. Okay? So life science, what is it and why should I pursue it? And what is that thing?
That looks like a
chart. It looks like a fractal, it's a chart. What is all those things on there? Bacteria, okay, you see all their weird science terms on there? Eukaryotes, archaea. Okay, what are we? Where are we on here? We're eukaryotes, animal cells, okay? We are just like at the most southern tip there. Okay, we are eukaryotic organisms. Look at all this diversity of life. This is incredible. So this is the most recent articulation of the tree of life. Okay, all of these areas, bacteria, fungi, archaeotes, all of these things, there's so much life out there. And all those little red dots are areas that have not been quite identified. So there's a tremendous amount of life, excuse me guys, there's a tremendous amount of life that has yet to be discovered. So this is a really cool thing. We think that there's so many people, there's billions and billions of people on Earth, and that there couldn't possibly be any other organisms that we don't know about. But there's tons of things we don't know. So this is a field that definitely needs more exploration and more scientists to go into. So what do people do with a life science degree? What do you do? Study life science. Okay, good. Wow. So what do you do as a biologist? What are some different things people do? Dissect people, hopefully when they're dead. No, right? Okay. What else? What else can you do? Botanical stuff. Working with plants? Absolutely. Doctor? Yeah? Who's interested in maybe becoming a doctor? Going into medicine? Cool. Absolutely. Going the life science route is one of the best ways that you can go about that. Okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about the life science program here at CSU Pueblo and the different areas that you guys can focus on. Okay? So we have biomedical, biosciences, so that would be the route for folks that are interested in going into the medical profession. We have environmental biosciences, those that want to save the earth, learn more from that perspective, more from the ecological perspective. Cellular and molecular, those that like to work in labs, work with cells, think about infectious diseases, things like that. Secondary ed, maybe work like how some of your teachers do to inspire you guys to learn about science. And then a new major that's going to be coming out just in time for you guys when you come here would be the wildlife management program. Okay? So I'm going to pick apart some of these different programs and different things that you can do if you were to place emphasis on them as a life science major. Okay, so biomedical sciences, become a medical doctor or veterinarian. So this lovely lady that I have a picture of is Alexandra Loza. She is a Pueblo native, and she went to CSU Pueblo here and got her degree in biology. And she is now in her last year of medical school up in Denver. Okay, and she's doing her rotations. Actually, last year she was doing her rotations here in Pueblo. So we have a really strong program for those that want to go into medical school. We provide a lot of support and emphasis in that. So quite a few of our students do go on to pursue medical school, veterinary school, and the different types of health sciences that you can go into. So like chemistry, working with teeth, physical therapy, nutrition, all sorts of cool stuff. So there's quite a bit of things that you can do with biomedical science. Environmental biosciences, again, those that are particularly interested in the earth and understanding ecological systems. This is Dr. Claire Ramos, and she is an ornithologist here at CSU Pueblo. She's really cool. She teaches a lot of the intro biology classes as well as the upper level ecology, ornithology being birds, birdies. So you get to learn quite a bit about what it takes to preserve the Earth's natural resources and how to preserve environments that organisms need to live in. Okay? And you can work for different government agencies. So a lot of scientists work for things like the Environmental Protection Agency, United States Geological Survey, Department of Wildlife, Department of all these things. Okay, a lot of scientists are in these different government agencies and do leadership in that. You can also work in private industry in this field. So who dreams of having a job where you can kind of get up and be moving around and being outside? Anybody like being outside? You want to just stare at a computer all day? Yeah. Okay. So this is those that are interested in sciences, those that are interested in getting up, moving, problem solving, perhaps being outside, interacting with nature. Life science is a really good program to go into. Cellular and molecular. Okay. Who watches CSI or any of those types of forensic shows? Cool. So this is a great emphasis area for you guys. You get the hands-on laboratory skills to be able to understand and to study things like cells, things like viruses and bacteria, understand how they grow and proliferate and how they affect us, right? We're always thinking about flu season, about Ebola, things like that. So if you're interested in understanding how disease works, cellular and molecular science is pretty cool. And you guys could also work at the hospital in this type of field. So there's a program called medical lab science that a lot of students go on to do after they finish their biology degrees. And they're actually the ones that, when a doctor takes the test from you to see if you're sick or not, or to see if something's going on, somebody has to run those tests, right? So scientists actually work within the hospitals to run those tests and to understand if somebody is sick or okay, and then give that back to the doctor so they can convey that information. Secondary education. So this gentleman up here is Brad Gonzalez. He was one of our tutors a year ago, and he finished his degree in secondary science ed. So he went on and had like 3 job offers right out before he even graduated to be a science teacher. So education's awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoy it all right in high school. So if you want to go on and inspire other students to do well, think about becoming a science teacher. There's lots of jobs available, especially for science teachers. And the new program that I was telling you guys about is in wildlife management. So this gentleman is Dr. Jim Satterfield, and he is one of the biologists that teaches for the program. He's holding a little crocodile of sorts in that picture. He used to, before coming back to teach, actually worked with the Fish and Wildlife Service. So he did a lot of, I don't know how much he worked with crocodiles, but he did a lot of work with fish. Anybody fishing here? Anybody hunt? Yeah. So you can get paid to do these types of things, to like manage like the elk herds and things like that, make sure that animal populations are healthy. Having to fish and sample different populations to analyze and understand what types of organisms are there. So wildlife management, again, really cool field. Something that's awesome if you wanted to be outside specifically, if you want to be a field biologist. And then this type of job, you can go literally all over the world because there's field projects anywhere and everywhere in the world if there's animals. So, what can you do right now? What do you think is important to do right now while you guys are in high school to then go on and do a degree in biology?
Take biology in high school.
Totally, absolutely. Take some biology classes in high school. What types of other things can you do to set yourself up well? What do you think?
Science fair?
Yeah, science fair. So I have a picture of these young ladies. So I also direct the Science Olympiad competition that happens here. We are very proud that it happens here now at CSU Pueblo. It used to be at UCCS, so if you guys don't already know about this and you'd be interested in being in some science competitions, we have Science Olympiad that's happening here in March. Okay, so take science courses at your schools. See how you like them. If you have the opportunity to take like AP courses or senior and sophomore classes, try to take some of those to try to maybe knock out some of the introductory science classes. Okay? Get involved in science clubs and science activities. And for no matter what degree program you guys decide to go into, a lot of times there's specific scholarship opportunities for those different degree programs. So I know that biology, for example, when you guys are applying for scholarships, has specific science-focused scholarships. So definitely think about applying for those types of things. And then something that I wish that I knew a lot more about when I was in high school was apply for things like the honors program and the President's Leadership Program. I know you guys to apply for programs like this. So, you know, if you're doing well academically, think about trying to apply for these types of programs because a lot more opportunities become available through those. Okay? So once you get to CSU Palo, and you guys are life science majors, or whatever majors you guys decide on, what do you think are some of the key areas that you guys can focus on to be successful as a college student? What do you think?
Time management.
Time management, super duper important.
Studying your notes.
Studying your notes, yeah, making sure you're taking good notes and using them.
Being balanced.
Being balanced, yeah, what do you mean by that?
Doing homework and studying maybe, and ensuring like when you want your essays to be turning how much time you're going to give yourself to finish those essays.
Totally, absolutely. Going back to time management, super duper important. One of my favorite professors here likes to say that you're not getting a degree in chemistry, because he's a chemistry professor. You're getting a degree in time management, because no matter what you're doing, you have to be good at delegating your time.
Oh, asking the question, asking for help.
Asking for help, yeah, absolutely. We are here for you guys, and I think it's really important for students to know that when you come to CSU Pueblo, that we're a small school, really, really supportive, and really willing to work with students. So you need to ask for help if you ever need help. Anything else? So I have some areas that I've definitely thought about quite a bit. Number one, attendance. Okay, so when you guys start college here, make sure that you guys are at every class. That there's been research that's been done that for every 2 absences that you have in a class, in a typical class over the semester, results in an 8% reduction in your overall course grade. 8%. That's pretty substantial. So be in classes. I know that sounds really simple, but attend your classes. Professor. So this goes along with communicating, like this gentleman said. Know what your resources are on campus. Your professors are awesome. They all are required to hold office hours. So that means that every week you can have access to them, you can meet with them. That's something that's really cool about going to school here as opposed to like a larger school like CU Boulder or something. Because it's a lot of those types of like introductory classes that you'll take, there'll be like 500 students in a class and you'll never actually get to know your professor. You might get to like know like a TA in it. At CSU Pueblo, that's not usually the case. You get to actually know your professors. And so get to know your professors, build relationships with them. Resources. Something also awesome about going to school here is that we have a ton of support specific to students. So as Gina knows with TRIO is such an awesome program that you can be qualified for all sorts of direct support, like one-on-one tutoring, things like that. We have a STEM Learning Center on campus, which is really rare. A lot of schools are starting to get them, but this is kind of a unique thing to CSU Pueblo, that we have a center just set aside to focus on things like biology, chemistry, and physics. We have a math learning center that's super duper awesome too, and quite a few other tutoring resources. Time. So, as you guys mentioned over here, time is super important. So not only from a time management perspective, but when you get to school, understanding that, well, I guess let me back up. For a typical college student in a full-time course load, about how many hours a week do you think you should be spent studying? 4. She got some more hours. 37, that's a lot. That's a lot. What do you think? I haven't heard it yet. Yeah. Okay, yeah, in a whole week. So the average that students are recommended to study, especially in the sciences, is about 15 hours a week. So it can be pretty extensive. And that sounds super overwhelming if you were to just look at a day and be like, where I'm supposed to be 15 hours. But that's where you chunk it out and are really effective with your schedule. Because from a cognitive perspective, it's much more effective to spend an hour or 2 at a time studying for something than to try to like cram all night before. You'll learn it a lot better and it will retain in your long-term memory. Okay? Then skills. Learning how to be a successful student takes a lot of time and effort. Okay? It's a skill that you build just like if you were playing a sport. That's not something that you usually just don't have to do any practice for or anything, right? You have to put in time and effort to practice and really refine your skills. So keep these things in mind when you guys come here. So, and I forgot to give an introduction at the front, but a little bit about me. I'm a Pueblo native. I went to County High School in County, Full Davidson here? So I went to county high school. When I graduated high school, I went to UNC in Greeley, University of Northern Colorado, and I did my bachelor's degree in biomedical science. But I also did a minor in environmental studies, and the tree hugger in me came out and really drove me to do more focus on environmental studies and sustainability. And so then I went on to do my master's in biology. So really into it.
Do you know Mr. Trimble and Ms. Burke?
Of course I do. Are they still there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Ms. Burke's our coordinator for Berlin.
Yep. Really? Yep. Tell her Abby Davidson.
Okay.
So then I went to do my master's in biology, and I focused a bit more on sustainability and science education. Then from there, I just couldn't get enough of school, and I did another master's when I was in Flagstaff in sustainability. And so through my time in education, it's just cool that once you get to higher ed, you get to really explore your interests and passions and be open to exploring different paths. And so I've kind of come full circle, and I really focused in on education. So a little bit about me and my trajectory. So ever since I was 5, I was like, I gotta go to med school, which is really cool. It drove me to go to into biology. But as I mentioned on the last slide, I became really interested in environmental advocacy during my undergrad, and so that kind of drove me to focus a little bit more on education. Okay. And then through my thesis work, when you do a graduate program, you do kind of this giant thing called a thesis. I became passionate about both science and sustainability education. And so kind of through my time in grad school, I started teaching. I taught a lot in different biology fields. So I taught cell physiology, microbiology to nursing majors, intro to sustainability, conservation biology, all sorts of different things. And so, I've worked in different places over the years. My husband and I had a child a couple of years ago, and I was like, I want to be back in Pueblo. I love this place. So we decided to move back here and start our life here, start our family here. And I was blessed to find a great job here at CSU Pueblo. So I started through teaching through the biology department. I taught earth science, and then that opened up the door for me to work with some of the more STEM initiatives. So I now direct the STEM Learning Center here on campus, and then for fun, I teach the earth science class in the summer. So it's always fun to keep teaching. And this is a picture of my lovely tutors that help run the center. So between this group, we serve